So as I've hit max prestige for this, I've decided that it's about time I use my Raven research video to let you guys know what each of these does. So basically, when you start playing this game mode, you will have to reach level 5, and it will enable you to create your own custom loadouts. Each one of these custom loadouts allows you to select 6 things. 6 things. So the first is a starting weapon. These will unlock randomly depending on what you have unlocked at the time. You'll also be able to activate and use certain weapons, certain lethal material. These do different things and let you kill zombies. The other 3 things that you'll be able to pick all are designed to augment and modify these abilities. Okay? These abilities all activate certain things. And it's important to understand what each of them does. So the first one is Free Fire. Free Fire enables you, when activating it, to consume ammo that you do not have. You will begin firing your weapon without any expenditure of ammo. If you don't have any ammo, doesn't matter, you can fire it. This is typically useful in situations where you're running low on ammo, you need to reload, or if you have a wall weapon that you can't reload and is empty but is quite powerful, or a box gun. The second one is Camouflage. I'll do it this way. Camouflage is an ability that allows you to be completely invisible to the zombies. This means that the zombies will not attack you, they will not run towards you. The design of this is that while you'll still have collision with the zombies, they will not actively be attacking you. However, the more you shoot your weapon, the more that you will lose this effect. You can melee zombies and you can use lethal equipment, in order to get kills, but you won't be able to fire your guns without activating this effect, or it reduces the timer. Next one is Shell Shock. This essentially creates a short-range area of effect around you that will stun all zombies within a certain range of you. Any zombies within that range. And it's circular around you. This is basically a breathing room type ability. And then the last one is Frontline. This is a tank type build. The way this works is that all of the zombies that are nearby you will begin chasing you when you activate this, but you will deal double damage to zombies for the duration of the ability. This is designed to attract zombies to you and let you kill them faster. So, it's important to understand how each of these work. Now, if you see there's that little Raven research token there, this is basically how you level up. Each level that you get, you will earn a Raven token, and these Raven tokens let you research things. There are 3 skill trees right here that all provide ability-specific mods, and then this one, the Storm Raven, which provides generic mods. So, for the point of this, we'll call them Ravens. What Ravens are the best? I see a lot of people running Ravens. Certain Ravens that just don't do anything, and certain Ravens that are completely useless if you don't know how to properly set up the build. So we're going to cover what each of the Ravens does and how good they are. We're going to have a 3-star, 2-star, 1-star system. With 3 stars being best, they should be run in almost every build as long as you have the right ability equipped. We have the 2 stars, which they require some knowledge to know how to use. They require a build. There's a caveat to using them effectively, or they're just not simply that effective. And then the 1 stars, which just aren't worth it. We'll start with the first trait. The first tree is Storm Raven, and this is the one that I highly recommend you spend your first 3 points into, because 2 of the first 3 that you will get in this are incredibly powerful. First one here is Pack Mule. This lets you carry a 3rd primary weapon, and this should be in every single build you run. Period. The reason for that is that if you are actively trying to get to the boss fight, what you have to understand is you're not going to be able to bring but 1 gun. You'll start the game with a shitty pistol. Then let's say you pick up a wall gun. Okay, like Type 100. Alright, those are your 2 guns for the rest of the game, pretty much. You're going to be opening doors, you're going to be doing stuff like that. You know, sure, you can go and pick up this other wall gun, and sure, you can try and grab this out of a box, and sure, you can try and grab this out of a box. But the main problem that you're going to run into is that when you get to the boss fight, you have to have a Tesla gun. You have to have a Tesla gun to activate the boss fight. So, when you're in the boss fight, you're going to be stuck with a Tesla gun and you're going to be stuck with whatever other gun you brought. If the gun you brought happens to be a baby shitty pistol as a starter weapon that you never pack a bunch, well, that's what you're stuck with then. So, Pack Mule gives you the ability to bring 3 guns. You can bring a Tesla and then still have 2 other gun slots, and that becomes critical. Having 3 guns doesn't matter until you get to the boss fight. When you get to the boss fight and you lose one of your guns, now having Pack Mule lets you compensate. In addition, this also saves you from having to buy the reload speed blitz early on, because if you can equip 3 guns, you can just cycle through instead of reloading all the time. It's a bit of a time saver. It's a 3-star. It should be in every build. The next one we have is Resourceful. This is a 2-star. This increases the chance that you will spawn power-ups when you kill enemies. Now, normally, in a 4-man group, the more zombies you kill, the more power-ups drop. Without this, you will probably get 2 power-ups a wave as a team. If you have someone in this that is running this, you will then probably get 3 or 4 power-ups. It's a bit inconsistent. And the other issue with this is that most of the power-ups are instantaneous. They are not a duration effect, which we'll talk about more in a bit. While this is better than a certain other mod you can run, the value of this is that if you find yourself running a lot of box weapons or wall weapons where max ammo is something you need a lot of, this is very good. This is good for max jewels if you use the shovel, same with insta-kill for the shovel. It's not good with nuke. But the main problem is, of the things that can drop, which are special meter, nuke, insta-kill, max jewels, max ammo, one of those things you actively don't want. And one of those things doesn't drop often enough. Special meter drops the least, and nuke is the one you don't want to drop. So of the other 3 that you do want to drop, you're basically running about a 60% chance of getting one of the more valuable mods in the game. And double jewels isn't valuable. Special meter is, max ammo, and insta-kill. Those are like the 3 I would recommend. So, this is not particularly great. If you don't have anything else, this does work well, but I would not recommend this as a slot unless you're going for a very generic build. If you don't want any of the special class stuff, run this. Next up, we have Grenadier. Grenadier is a 3-star. This lets you carry twice the amount of lethal equipment. So instead of starting the game with 4, you will start the game with 8. This is incredibly powerful considering how you can use it. So for example, throwing knives are considered a melee, which means you can use throwing knives, which are a one-hit kill on pests, regular zombies, and bomber zombies. You can use a pest or a throwing knife in order to kill them. Having 8 of them, and remember, you get 8 out of each max ammo as well, lets you kill pretty much 8 enemies as long as your accuracy is good. Same with sticky grenades, which are better for area of effect control, things of this nature. If you're somebody who doesn't use lethal equipment, this won't do any value. That's why it's a, I should put it as a 2-star, but I think it really is good as a 3-star. So, this is one of the strongest ones. I would definitely recommend this. As an early build until you get other mods, like for your first 3, just putting 3 points into these is incredibly powerful. This gives you a lot more versatility. You have double lethal equipment, you have a 3rd weapon, and you get power-ups more often, so you can use more varied weapons. However, after this, the next few aren't very good. Next one that we have is Discipline. Increase weapon accuracy and damage while crouching or prone. This is a 1-star. This is horrible. This is not multiplayer. If this was multiplayer, that would be a different story. See, in zombies, you generally want to move a lot. You don't want to stay still. Very rarely. If you are staying still, it's generally you're going to be staying still, firing, and then running, stay still, fire, run type strategy. So, if your plan is to run, crouch, fire, then move on, this will get some value for you. But this is not advised, especially at higher levels when you will have 20 or 30 zombies at a time chasing you, hoarding you, and they're as fast as you. You will not have the luxury to be able to stop, crouch, fire, and then rinse and repeat. Hoarder is a 2-star. This lets you carry an additional blitz, which the blitzes are the little machines in the map that you stick your hand on, you go ow, and then they give you an effect. So for the blitz machines, the starting area has faster revive or automatic revive. The little hole where pilot light is has sprint burst. The bunker, once you open the command room up and you get to the bunker, has melee damage. The left pathway, which is the laboratory, has reload speed. The lab room outside of where you have to pick up one of the Tesla parts has electric reload. And the pub building has double tap, double damage. Of these abilities, you only need 4. There are only 4 good blitzes. So there is reload speed, sprint burst, melee damage, and double tap, or the double damage. Electric reload and faster revive are worth it. So, unless you're playing solo, then grab faster revive in place of something else, or you can run this. But because you only really need 4 blitzes, this is not a very good mod. This is actually a pretty poor mod. It can help you if you're playing solo, where you can grab the 4 aforementioned plus the faster revive. But you're not going to need the 5 blitzes. The 5 blitzes is not particularly helpful, and it's definitely not worth a perk slot. Next up is Specialist Training. This is a 2-star. Special meter requires less energy to charge than it normally would. The only real value of this is that it will... If you're somebody that doesn't get a lot of kills, if you're playing objective, and so you're not filling your special meter up, but you need to use your special meter a lot, this is very helpful. For example, if you're a camouflage player, and you're trying to do Voices of God, if you're trying to bring the Uber Shell down to Left Hand of God, if you're trying to run the Right Hand of God circuit to power up the fuse boxes, this helps. If you are somebody that has bad teammates that you constantly need to revive with a shell shock build or a camouflage build, if you run low capacity ammo weapons and you need free fire a lot, this can help. It is more advised that you run something else. Like, if I'm a free fire player and I need more ammo, well, you're better off with fully loaded than this. If you are a frontline player who's trying to get attention all the time, you may be better off just running a Jack-in-the-Box coupon. So this training doesn't really help you. Where it really is only valuable to me is when if you've taken a contract where you need to stun 200 zombies with shell shock in 40 minutes, or you need to kill 175 zombies with free fire in 40 minutes, this will help you. Particularly with the free fire and the shell shock. This helps with that. Outside of trying to complete that contract, this does not particularly help you. And the special meter coupon is more valuable in my opinion. The next one, this is long lasting. This is a 1-star. This is 1-star. First off, it does not stack with other teammates using long lasting, which means you do not know if you jump into a game in wave 2, you don't know who's already running this. What this is that when a power-up is dropped, if it is a duration power-up, well, the duration lasts longer. Pretty explanatory. Now, remember what the 5 abilities are. Special meter, max ammo, nuke, insta-kill, double jewels. The problem with that is only 2 of those power-ups actually have a duration. Wait, insta-kill, double jewels. Yeah, insta-kill and double jewels. They're the only ones that have a duration to them. Max ammo is instant, nuke is instant, and special meter is instant. So, you only get to use this on 40% of the power-ups in the game. In addition to that, you're better off running Resourceful to get more power-ups than long-lasting. However, there is a slight value to this if you're a full team and you're running like insta kill or double jewels and just like everybody's alternating using a coupon for, let's say, double jewels, and everybody has the shovel and they're just farming shovel credits with one person running long lasting. That's a gimmick build, pretty much. Fully loaded. This to me is a 3-star. I highly recommend this. What this does is this increases the max reserve ammo capacity for your guns. This is critical when you get to Pack-a-Punch. So this gun is this perk is more valuable at the later stages of the game. So what it does is it increases your carrying capacity, but not at the start. Well, it does at the start, but you won't spawn in the game with more ammo. Your starter weapon will still have the same amount of ammo as normal. However, when you get a max ammo pickup for the first time, and it instantly fills all your ammo up, this increases the amount of ammo you can carry. This is actually very strong. If you're not running Free Fire, this is very helpful. And this does work on like wall guns, pack punch guns, things like that. So, for example, the machine pistol with extended mag is 15 rounds. When you put in a Pack-a-Punch, it's 30 rounds. And if you're running fully loaded, then the Pack-a-Punch, it becomes the Red 9. But the Pack-a-Punch Red 9, 1,000 round ammo capacity for max reserve ammo. That is incredible, because it saves from having to go and constantly rebuy ammo. So this is a perk slot you run if you want to save yourself about 4,000 in money every time you need to reload. And it also makes it so that your guns will last longer until, say, the next max ammo, as opposed to having to rely on buying ammo. Most of the last ones in this tree are not very good. Fast Hands is not very good. This lets you use lethal equipment and items faster. It increases the damage for lethals, and it lets you switch weapons faster. Weapon switch is not really a problem in this. The damage for lethals is not really a problem for this. Throwing knives are insta-kill against pests, bombers, and regular zombies. Frag grenade and the sticky depend on where they are when the explosion goes off. Same with satchel charge, and same with S-mines. They don't do too, that doesn't do too much. And then where you can use the lethals faster, that's kind of helpful. I would not recommend this. This is not something you need. This is for people that are trying to adjust from multiplayer to zombies. Gung Ho, this increases your shotgun damage. That's the main effect you're running on this. If you want to run an all shotgun build where you spawn with the sawed-off, you grab the drilling off the wall, and you got a coupon for the blunderbuss or the toggle action, or if you go and buy the combat shotgun from Pub, and you're like, yeah, I'm just gonna run all shotguns and just be a close-range juggernaut. Well, Gung Ho's for you. This also lets you fire weapons while sprinting, and because Sprint Burst is the best blitz in the game, you might be tempted to run this. Don't. This is not as effective as you would think. More often than not, the increased inaccuracy of the weapon, particularly at higher levels, is not going to net you as many kills as you would think. One of the better ones as well, this is a 3-star, in my opinion, is Mugger. This increases your jolts for killing enemies with melee only. So if you're a Shovel Knight like myself, then you will get a lot of value out of this. So this will enable you to get 200 a kill on zombies in wave 1 for using shovel only. Now, that's very good. You spawn with 500. That means that killing 2 zombies is enough to open the first door and leave without any coupons, which most people can't do that. This is also effective later on. Once you get the bunker room open, if you have 2,000 credits in order to grab the extra melee damage, you can stick with the shovel as your primary weapon with Mugger and Melee Blitz till round 12 or 13. And every enemy you hit with the shovel is going to be one shot, just farming credits up the whole time. So you have a ton of credits for later on, for any other doors, Pack-a-Punch, etc. This is incredibly strong and a good way to keep your money going. The only real downside is that if you're not using the shovel, you don't get any value out of this. Now you do if you're running throwing knives, because throwing knives count as well, So there is that, but I highly recommend this if you're trying to farm credits once you know what you're doing. This one is another one I'm not particularly fond of. It is a 2-star though. Lucky Crit. So this increases the chance to deal instant damage when you shoot a zombie, instantly killing regular zombies. Basically, if you get a headshot, the chance of it actually killing a zombie in one shot is much higher. I don't find that I need this. I find that if I'm running certain guns, I tend to go for the body, and if I'm running certain guns, I tend to go for the head. This also only applies to regular zombies. It doesn't apply to Brenners, it doesn't apply to Wustlings, and those are really the two that I would want it to be on. So, out of this group, I would say that Mugger, Fully Loaded, Grenadier, and Pack Mule are what you want to go for. With Resourceful, Hoarder being like the only other ones I would consider. For these trees, we're going to look at these in a different angle. So the first tree we're going to look up is the Free Fire tree. For the Free Fire tree, the first one that you get is Marksmanship. This is, well, I shouldn't say the first one, but for the Free Fire tree, the first one is Marksmanship. So headshots, while using Free Fire, deal significantly increased damage. This is not as good as it seems. It's good as a beginning tool. First off, headshots are generally going to give you the most damage anyways. This is designed to be kind of an insta-kill type ability. It's not really needed too much. With this ability, you're going to be able to get more, if you're good with headshots, you'll be able to get more kills instantaneously. The downside is when using Free Fire, you're generally using it because you've run out of ammo, or you're generally using it because you got cornered and you need to just hold down the button and spray and pray your way out of a corner, which you're not going to be aiming for headshots when you do that. So it's not as valuable as one would think. The next one is Explosives Handler. This is a solid 2-star ability. This gives you and any nearby allies 2 lethals when you are activating Free Fire. This is more useful than you would think. First off, this is very useful when combined with Grenadier, because you get up to 8 lethals on that, so you'll be able to you'll be using your lethals more often. This helps you refill that. And it's a good way if you're out of lethals and you feel like you need some, you can just pop Free Fire and use the lethals. It's not a necessity, but I would say it's one of the better ones that you can run, as opposed to just normally running Free Fire by itself. This is very good if you have a coordinated team. The next one is Ammo Carrier. Nearby teammates receive a full clip of ammo when activating Free Fire. See, the problem with this is that generally, when you activate Free Fire, you're going to be alone most of the time. If 2 people are near each other, generally they're going to be able to mow through a horde of zombies very quickly because you have 2 people concentrating fire. This mostly comes up as a poor man's max ammo. First off, important thing to note. This grants 1 clip of ammo to whatever gun is equipped for the nearby teammate. This does not apply to you because you're activating Free Fire. And personally, I don't think it's that good. I would put this as a 1-star alongside Marksmanship. This is effective if you are trying to... If you have a team that's using very low ammo capacity weapons like 5-round snipers or things like that, and they're running out of ammo often, this can be helpful because you stop Free Fire when they're all grouped up in between rounds or something to give them a free clip in the hopes that you can find a max ammo, but I would not recommend this. The next one is the Mark II. This is a 2-star ability. This will make the player's gun upgraded to a Pack-a-Punch gun while using Free Fire. This is very good early game. This isn't one of the few early game mods you will see. what this enables you to do is if you have a daily or a contract to kill enemies with upgraded weapons, usually Pack-a-Punch is not going to get opened until at the earliest round 5. If you have somebody dedicated to getting Pack-a-Punch while the rest of the people are going for the objective or just trying to do crowd control, you'll be able to get this at wave 5. You can usually get Pack-a-Punch open, maybe wave 6, and by wave 7 or 8 you'll have enough for 5,000 if you're not buying blitzes or armor or other doors. So generally round 8 is when you're going to be able at the earliest to get a Pack-a-Punch. Well, this makes it so that you're going to be able to use Pack-a-Punch whenever you activate Free Fire. Whatever gun you're using will automatically become Pack-a-Punch. There is important things to note. First off, the gun that you're using changes when you Pack-a-Punch it. Let's say I start off with the drilling, which is a 2-round. When I Pack-a-Punch it, I get 3 rounds. So I will then get a 3-round shotgun that has great damage with unlimited ammo because of Free Fire. The key to note is if you get very comfortable with using Free Fire whenever you have it up and you're running this, you're not going to get used to how the guns actually work without running this. In addition, once you activate Pack-a-Punch and begin Pack-a-Punching your guns, this mod loses all value whatsoever. So it's a good early game approach if you plan on using Free Fire as a last stand type way to just kill everything in your sight. But I would not recommend this unless you have a challenge. The next one is Suppressive Fire. This is a 2-star. So enemies slow down momentarily as they take bullet damage while using Free Fire. To me, the trade-offs on this are more than what you actually gain. However, I do want to talk about it. First off, when you use Free Fire, you're generally holding down the button and just spraying and praying as much as humanly possible. So you're trying to kill everything as quickly as possible. What Suppressive Fire does is that when enemies are hit with your bullets while using Free Fire, they slow down. This is important in later rounds when the zombies are as fast or faster than you. However, when you activate Free Fire, you're generally trying to just mow down whatever is in front of you, so there's no real value to them slowing down because they're going to die. This is most effective against pests and wustlings, when a wustling charges at you to slow them down, or the pests, but pests are also very weak, so they don't necessarily get much value out of this. Fragmentation Skull, I do recommend this. I think this is the best out of the Free Fires. So headshot kills during Free Fire cause explosive damage. So basically, whenever you get a headshot while using Free Fire, you will cause their head to explode like a grenade. So if there are zombies nearby, they take that damage. This is a very powerful crowd control ability. Now, unlike the other headshot-related ones, the reason why I think this is the best is because this enables you to essentially chain one headshot into 2, 3, 4 kills depending on where the zombies are located. Just being able to constantly spray and pray is a very effective tactic. And if 1 or 2 random headshots go off, you're going to be able to get a much larger damage output than actually just spraying and praying. The only downside to this is that it only works while using Free Fire, so generally you're going to be only using Free Fire with large groups. The last one for Free Fire specific is Squad Tactics. This is very similar to Marksman, where nearby allies get headshot bonus damage while you are using Free Fire. This has the same restriction that the other one does that we talked about earlier, where it only works on nearby allies. Generally, you're not activating Free Fire when you are near other allies. When it comes to Free Fire mods, I would recommend Fragmentation Skull, Mark II if you're running a specific challenge, Explosive Handler if you're using Grenadier. Those are the ones I would recommend. I wouldn't recommend Marksmanship, I wouldn't recommend Ammo Carrier, I wouldn't recommend Suppressive Fire, and I wouldn't recommend Squad Tactics. Although you can run Squad Tactics and Marksmanship. That is a decent 1-2 early combo. The next one I do want to cover are the other universal mods that you unlock through the other trees. The first is preventative medicine. This is something that doesn't stack. So again, this is very similar to longer lasting, where you need to make sure that you're the only one in your team using it. It makes it so that the entire team has a longer bleed out time, buying them more time to revive each other. You do get 2 self-revives when you go into a game, so I don't necessarily think this is something like absolutely necessary. It's kind of a nice thing if you're queuing as a solo player, you can run this and you can try and buy your team some more time to get you up if you don't want to use self-revive. I don't necessarily recommend this. I would think it's a 2-star because only one person should be running it. Next is Dutiful Medic. This is horrible. This is 1-star. Take no damage from 1 hit while reviving a teammate. The only time that this really comes into play, there's 2 situations. One, you're reviving a teammate, they're on the ground with a pistol, and they're shooting the zombies while you're reviving them. And you take a hit, and then they kill the zombie after you took a hit. Well, you don't take damage from it. Good job. Or it's at the zombies are catching up to you. You're at the end of the revive, and they hit you 1 time before the guy gets up. So you didn't take any damage from that. But the way that zombies works is you're going to take damage from the next hit because, well, the zombie's going to hit you a 2nd time. This is completely not worth it. Do not run this. This is a very bad thing to run. There are much better things to run than
Your king
this.
has returned.
Alright, let me finish up this video and I'll queue. I'm in zombies if you can join off me.
Okay.
Discipline. I already covered that. Okay, finishing blow. Extra melee damage against enemies with less than half health. This is 1-star. See, here's the thing. Melee damage is one of those things that once you buy melee blitz, you pretty much one-shot all of the regular zombies until later rounds. If you're buying that blitz, you have no reason to purchase and run finishing blow. The only real advantage to finishing blow is if you're trying to melee wustlings. Highly do not recommend. So, that's a 1-star.
Actually, you could go ahead on zombies. I want to do this quick contract and something before I forget later.
Flak Jacket, take no damage from your own explosives. This applies only to lethal equipment explosions. Let's start with that. It does not apply to if you run a Panzer Mortar or if you get the Wunderwaffe Gatling rocket launcher out of the mystery box. It does not apply to those. It only applies to fragmentations, stickies, satchel charges, and S-mines. Generally, you're going to be throwing these abilities into large groups of enemies. Or in the case of the S-mine, you're going to plan it and then try and goad the zombies into running into it. If you can find a way to kill yourself with your own explosives, I commend you for your sheer stupidity. However, this is a 1-star. You should not be running this. Next up is Stubborn. This is a 2-star, in my opinion. I see a lot of people running this. The next 2 that I'm covering, a lot of people run, but they shouldn't. Stubborn works as a very good solo queue ability. What this means is you will keep all of your blitz abilities, you know, the 2,000 to 3,000 priced upgrades, like Sprint Burst and melee damage. Well, you will, over time, as you begin lying on the ground, writhing in pain, bleeding out, you will gradually lose those blitzes one by one and have to repurchase them. Stubborn lets you keep all of those when you're revived for the first time. This applies to a self-revive, this applies to a teammate reviving you. There are 2 main issues with Stubborn. A, you are taking a perk slot away to help you out one singular time in the game. 1. And only 1. B, it is not particularly effective because if you go down early in the game, if the first time you go down early in the game, you don't have any blitzes, or if you have a teammate with AoE revive who revives you as soon as you go down, or if you have a teammate with camouflage revive who is able to revive you before you even lose 1 blitz, then you have wasted 1/3 of your loadout at the start of the game, pretty much. It doesn't apply to, oh, well, the first time you lose blitz. It's the first time you go down. That means if you start the game AFK and then you come back in round 2, oh, well, that's rather unfortunate. The only real value to this is if you're playing solo. This is a very good solo queue, because if you have teammates that are focusing on objective and you're trying to wait until the last possible second to self-revive and then get up, you'll keep all of your blitzes. That singular situation is where this comes in handy, and it's only a 2-star instead of a 1-star because of how strong that situation is. The last universal mod, again, this is very overused, is Armored Up. This lets you spawn and respawn with 3 points of armor. Now, this is very good at the beginning of the game and at the end of the game. So in the beginning of the game, you'll spawn with armor. It saves you 500 credits from having to buy armor, and it also saves you a little bit of coin, because by not having to buy armor at the start of the game, that means that the first time you actually need to buy armor, it'll only cost you 500 instead of 1,000. It's a little way to save you some money. That's the first value to this ability. It's a good early game perk. The only other value that this gets is when you respawn. This is not when you go down and you get revived. This is when you die and you have to wait for the round to end in order to respawn and come back in. You'll start with 3 points of armor. This is very helpful in, for example, the boss fight, or after wave 20 or so, when it becomes very expensive for you to get more armor. You'll have to rebuy all of your blitzes, you'll have to rebuy your weapons, you'll have to repack-a-punch your weapons. That costs a lot of jewels. So, this is good for that situation. If you are running this, you should... Realistically, you're only going to get value out of this at the beginning of the game, unless you have a really shitty team or you really suck, and you die a lot. Which... if it works, it works. Very similar to Stubborn. It's one of those, you'll get some value out of it once or twice a game. It's not necessarily worth the perk slot, especially compared to something for universal mods. Fully Loaded is better, Grenadier is better, Mugger is better, Pack Mule is better. For the Frontline mods, Frontline by itself is also the most difficult of the classes to use. It is also one of the ones that has very few good mods that are effective. The first mod is Resilient. This significantly reduces the delay before regaining health while using Frontline. By significantly reduce the delay, it means instead of having to wait 5 seconds, you have to wait 2 seconds. In theory, this does seem very good, because it means you regen health faster. In practice, it's not as good as you would think. When you activate Frontline, all of the zombies are attracted to you, which means if you get surrounded by a horde of zombies, you basically have to shoot your way out of that horde. Your health doesn't regenerate while you're taking damage, and if you are surrounded by 5 zombies, every zombie hits you 1 time, and you kill 2 zombies, that still means that you're going to have to eat 3 more hits before you can shoot your next zombie. Let's say you're using like a shotgun or something like that. So the reduction in health regen is not as good. It's a 1-star. This is mostly good if you and a teammate are trying to use a frontline strategy, where you're activating frontline to grab the zombie's attention, and you have a teammate who is there shooting down the zombies for you, so you can maybe catch a breather in between. 1-star, would not recommend. The 3-star mod, and the king of the frontline mods, is Vicious. Enemies take triple damage instead of double damage while using frontline. At early game, when all of your weapons can pretty much 1-shot or 2-shot, this saves you extra ammo. At late games, when you need half a clip to a full clip to kill zombies, this is incredibly strong. Just dealing triple damage with whatever gun, and this also applies to pack-a-punch guns at that. So a Vicious frontline with a pack-a-punch blunderbuss, you're gonna 1-shot a wussling. I've tried that. You can 1-shot a wussling very easily. The main value of Vicious is that every time you activate Frontline, you become a giant target that deals more damage. Vicious says, no, I don't deal more damage, I deal all of the damage. If you're going to run Frontline, this needs to be in your build, period. The next one is Determination. This is the superior one to Resilient. So this gives you 2 points of armor when activating Frontline. This is a 2-star. It's superior to Resilient because this gives you a direct way to protect yourself. Remember, armor takes 1, 2, or 3 lethal hits for you, depending on how much armor you have. Well, the strength of this is that by automatically activating Frontline, you get the 2 points. This means if you're very weak and you just need armor to survive, you can kind of take a gamble and activate Frontline to give yourself the 2 points of armor and the bonus damage from Frontline. This lets you take 2 hits and kill whatever zombie is standing in front of your face. The main issue with this is that the rest of the zombies that are nearby are also going to be in front of your face now. But in a situation where you just need the extra damage or the extra armor, this is a decent mod to run. And if you don't mind wasting your special ability in between rounds, this can be a very cheap way to rebuy armor as well. Instead of having to rebuy armor at a Deathchild machine and spend 500, 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, 2,500, 5 grand, 7,500, 10 grand, you can just waste your special ability, which you can then recharge by killing more zombies with the special ability to get free armor. It's definitely a 2-star approach, but I wouldn't call it a 3-star. It's not really a mandatory type build. The next one is Team Effort. Team Effort is also a 2-star. This gives nearby teammates the damage bonus while you are using Frontline. This works with Vicious, so your teammates that are nearby when you activate the ability will get triple damage on zombies. However, this ability only works if the rest of the team stays near you. Which, when you're activating Frontline and all of the zombies are being attracted to you, does defeat the purpose if you're using Frontline as a way to, for example, be a decoy. This is good for clearing out hordes of zombies, because if you and a friend are like standing back to back to each other, all of the zombies are being attracted to person A and person B are dealing triple damage and just mowing down everything in sight. That does work well. The downside is how close you have to be when you activate this. You have to be within 4 meters in order to use this, and it only applies while they stay near you, which means if they're near you at the start and then run away, they no longer get that damage bonus. It's a 2-star if you're planning to play in a coordinated situation with another partner that plays a similar style. The next one is Punishment. While Frontline is active, weaker enemies will die automatically after hitting the user. This is a 2-star. This actually does fairly well if you think of it as sort of like a personal shield. When the weaker enemies, like the pests and the regular zombies, hit you, they automatically die. That's great. It's like insta-kill. The problem is they have to hit you, which means you're taking damage. So this combos well with Determination, so that you automatically have armor. The downside is you don't want to get hit by zombies. Frontline's advantage is it doubles your damage output, so that you can spray and pray at zombies as they come up on you. Not so that you can stand there like a giant igloo of death and just keep getting hit, because eventually you'll die to that as well. It is decent if you're planning on running a melee-focused build, which my next one is hand-to-hand, increases melee damage while using Frontline. This doubles your melee damage. This doesn't work with the melee blitz, but it basically lets you have the melee blitz early. This will let you melee to death Wuslings. If you're running hand-to-hand, and you're running the melee blitz, and you're running Mugger, and you just use Frontline and run around with a shovel whacking everything to death, you will deal a fuck ton of damage. Vicious, hand-to-hand, and Mugger is a great Shovel Knight type build with Frontline. The only real downside to this is, again, how close you have to be to the zombies in order to get the value of it negates the actual value of Frontline itself. Overall, I would say that Vicious is the only one that you really must have when running a Frontline build. Determination and Hand-to-Hand are the next best, and then Punishment, Team Effort as needed, and Resilient should be avoided at all costs. For the Camouflage build, it's important to understand how you're using Camouflage before you begin. Camouflage makes it so you do not fire your weapon. You can, would not recommend, your bar decreases faster. But Camouflage allows you to hide yourself from zombies. This means that you will be able to complete objectives that require you to move around the map, or to sneak in unnoticed for revives. This makes it kind of a medic-based class, or a just, okay, leave me alone, I'm done, go fight somebody else type ability, when you don't want the zombies to play with you anymore. Play with me! So, the first thing that you will get for Camouflage, Field Medic. This is 3-star. Revive fallen teammates quicker while using Camouflage. Now, while it is a 3-star, I do not recommend it in every build. The main value that you get from running this is that you are able to get teammates up faster while you are camouflaged. This means that the enemy zombies will not be able to detect you, and you'll be able to get your teammate back up faster. You need to pair this with another ability, the other 3-star ability, which is Exfiltration. Allies revived while using Camouflage are also hidden temporarily. These two abilities combo insanely well. They enable you to activate Camouflage, sneak over to a teammate, get them up within a couple of seconds, and then stay hidden. As long as your teammate is not immediately firing their gun as soon as they get back up. These two mods work very well in making you the team's medic, although I don't think you need both to be effective. I would say Exfiltration is superior to Field Medic, but they both do their job. The next one is Survivalist. This is a 1-star. This is horrible. You gain 1 point of Guest Shell while activating Camouflage, so 1 point of armor. Now, unlike Determination for the Frontline class, the reason why this sucks is because whereas Frontline attracts the zombies' attention, which is why you need armor, Camouflage removes the zombies' attention. This is valuable if you have just lost all of your armor and you activate Camouflage so as not to immediately die. The downside to this is the 1 point of armor that you get is not going to be enough to save you if another zombie hits you while you're activating Camouflage and you still go down, which has happened a few times before when I run Camouflage. That 1 point of armor is not enough to save you. In addition, unlike with Determination, where you could pop your ability in between rounds in order to just get the armor effect, you got 2 pieces of armor. This gives you 1 piece of armor. So, unless you just like, oh, I need to top off my armor, and you waste it that way, I would not recommend wasting Camouflage in between rounds like this. Especially where Camouflage is more powerful for its ability to revive teammates or get you out of jams, whereas Frontline is more designed to get you into trouble. The next one is Mobilization. This increases movement speed while you are using Camouflage. On paper, this seems great because it lets you go from place to place while camouflage quicker. This is really only for an objective build. If you're trying to do certain objectives solo, pop your camouflage, you can run that much faster. But the movement speed increase is not that much, and you should already be running Sprint Burst. If you're not running Sprint Burst, then you'll get value out of this. If you are running Sprint Burst, you will get 0 value out of this. It does not stack with Sprint Burst. This is a 1-star ability. The next one is Saboteur. This is a 2-star. Lethal equipment does significantly more damage while using camouflage. Now, lethal equipment is generally going to be a one-and-done type thing where you kill zombies instantly. The key is that camouflage doesn't break when you use lethal equipment. So comboing Saboteur with Grenader, where you have now 8 instead of 4 lethal equipments, means you can spam a lot more lethal equipment. However, your choice of lethal equipment really depends here. The satchel charges are a fixed amount of damage, so this doesn't really help with that. In addition, you can only lay 2 S-mines at a time, and while you're camouflaged, the zombies are not attracted to you. This makes it very difficult to attract the zombies' attention. And no, laying an S-mine while camouflaged, shooting to end your camouflage, and then having the zombies run over the S-mine you set, does not grant you the bonus damage. I've tried. Throwing knives also don't particularly benefit from this because, again, throwing knives are a one-shot against pests, bombers, and regular zombies. So this mod really just makes throwing knives into wussling killers, where 2 or 3 knives is enough to kill a wussling. Mostly you're going to use this for your stickies and for your fragmentation grenades, if you plan on running those full time. I would say it's a 2-star. It works if you make a build around it, otherwise don't run it. The last camouflage mod is Serrated Edge. This is a 1-star. Do not recommend. Melee attacks deal extra damage over time. Yeah.
Who are you talking to?
Video.
Oh.
Yeah, it's kind of a class.
My fault.
No, you're good. The melee attacks dealing damage over time while camouflage isn't very valuable. The camouflage, while it doesn't reveal you and knock you out of camouflage when you deal melee attacks, again, melee attacks you're generally only using to kill shit in one hit with the melee blitz or with Mugger. The extra damage over time doesn't really work unless you don't have the melee blitz. And even then, the damage over time applies over 3 seconds. That means that the zombie is still not going to die, which means you'll generally hit them again wondering why it's not working, which will then probably kill them. So you're still 2-shotting at most points. Would not recommend. The best mod in this class is going to be Exfiltration, with Field Medic as a close second and Saboteur as a maybe. The rest I would not recommend. For our last class, the Shell Shock and the mods in this class generally has 2 styles of play. One that involves playing around a medic style, and one that involves around playing as a large crowd control effect. For the medic style of play, you need to run Defibrillate. This will revive all downed teammates that are in range when you activate Shell Shock. This immediately revives them on the spot as long as they're in range when you activate the ability. 2 things to note. 1, if you revive teammates with this way, they will not keep the blitzes or the armor or anything like that if they've already lost it. So it's not like an instant revive. If you get to them late, whatever they've lost, they've lost. And 2, if another teammate is reviving them and you activate it, you can't steal the revive by popping it. The teammate that is manually reviving will take priority over you running Defibrillate. This is one of the strongest abilities in the game because you can revive people at range and you can stun anybody nearby so that they can kill them when they get up. Exploit Weakness is another incredibly strong one for Shell Shock. This causes enemies stunned by Shell Shock to take triple damage. This lets you use this as a get-out-of-jail-free card, and combos well with Defibrillate, giving you the ability to revive a teammate and let them just spray and pray and get money back by taking triple damage enemies out. This is an incredibly strong way to play, and it helps you in situations where you run low on ammo and you desperately need to shovel people to get them off of you, because you're out of ammo. Another solid one, although it's a 2-star, is Fiery Burst. Enemies hit by Shell Shock are set on fire. The value of this is that the enemies will take damage over time. As long as the enemy is stunned by Shell Shock, they will take fire damage, which will let you kill all of the zombies. You can actually kill a Wussling by hitting it with Shell Shock, as long as you have a full special meter. So, Shell Shock is very strong with this. The downside to Fiery Burst is it's pretty much offset by Exploit Weakness. You don't get any credits for the enemy dying to your fire damage with this ability compared to Exploit Weakness, where as long as you kill the zombie, you get credit for it. Sustain Zone is horrible. This is a 1-star. This reduces the range of your Shell Shock by a lot. It cuts it in half by 50%. but it creates an area of effect where zombies that run into it will automatically get stunned. The downside to this is the shorter range and the fact that once zombies run into it, they get stunned and they don't do anything. They don't take damage, they just get stunned. It doesn't stack with Exploit Weakness or Fiery Burst, unfortunately. The key to this build is kind of as a poor man's Jack-in-the-Box grenade. If you don't want to run a Jack-in-the-Box coupon, but you still want the effect, you can just pop this ability and try and lure the zombies into it as a decoy. It only really works as well in open areas where you can try and run through the zone to get them to chase you into it. If you're in a tight corridor, would not recommend. Protector is an interesting one. Allies hit with Shell Shock gain 1 point of Getschild, which is your armor. This is similar to the Camouflage mod, where it's not particularly good because it only gives you 1 point of armor. However, it is a little bit stronger because of the fact that you can hit multiple allies with this and all give them 1 point of armor. The downside is that all of the other Shell Shock mods are more valuable. Fiery Burst, Exploit Weakness, Defibrillate are all stronger than this. So there's no real purpose to running this specific mod. You are much better off replacing it with Defibrillate and actually reviving teammates who have fallen down, as opposed to, oh hey, here's a free piece of armor in between rounds. Now I've wasted a very powerful ability. The last mod to cover for the video is Breathing Room. Shell Shock has an increased range and knocks back enemies further. This works well if you're trying to give yourself some space, because the knockback from Shell Shock by default isn't very high. However, Shell Shock having an increased range does not stack with Fiery Burst, Exploit Weakness, or Defibrillate. I've tried. It kind of sucks. And considering that would be your main purpose for using that, it's mostly a great way to extra knockback. So as a final tip, how should you spend your Raven research points? Your first 3 mods should be put into the Storm Raven tree to get Pack Mule, Resourceful, and Grenader. This is a very good 1, 2, 3 loadout. With whatever ability you run, having an extra gun, having extra grenades, and having more power-ups is a good starting point. The next tree to go for depends on how you play. If you want to play as a very aggressive style of play or a medic, you generally want to go for the Blood Raven tree, because you'll need to get deep into the Blood Raven tree in order to get Defibrillate and Exfiltration, which are the 2 best medic-based mods in the game. For your first 3 points into this tree, though, you'll get Team Effort, Explosives Handler, and Protector. This lets you use Shell Shock as a way to give armor, Free Fire gives ammo, and Frontline gives the damage bonus to nearby teammates. So this is a good tree for running cooperative play, where everyone is basically using their mods to help each other, as opposed to actually kill enemies. If you want to focus on just straight up damage, go for the Death Raven tree. The best things in the Death Raven tree are Vicious, which is further on, and Fragmentation Skull. Those are the second to last and third to last ones that you pick up in the tree. And the fourth to last is Exploit Weakness. So these 3 are very strong, but you have to wade through a bunch of bullshit to get to them first. The first 3 things that you get are Marksmanship, which is not very good, Fiery Burst, which is decent, and Saboteur, which again is decent. These let you play a bit more damaging with Shell Shock and Camouflage, so if you want to play like that, this is the tree to go down. And the last one is Moonraven, which is pretty much a bit of everything. If you want more survivability at the start, I would recommend you go down with the Moonraven tree. Most of the best stuff in the Moonraven tree are in the beginning to middle. Armored Up, Survivalist, and Resilient are the first 3 you get, with Armored Up being good and the rest being, well, kind of dog shit. But you will get access to Determination and Breathing Room later on if you want to use those, and Stubborn. The tail end of the tree is not good. Sustain Zone, Mobilization, and Suppressive Fire are not very good at all. So this is usually the tree you're going to want to work on last. Put 1 or 2 points in the beginning to help your survivability, and then as you have all of the Storm Raven, the Blood Raven, and the Death Raven trees, come back to Moonraven. Alrighty, thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed.